Is it time?
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
We'll know in a very short period of time, but it looks like it could be something that will be not good. Believe me, not good.
I see issue with that. And again, hey.
You're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency. That's not going to happen.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
What's up, everyone? A pleasant good evening. Welcome, dissidents one and all, to a very special edition of the Do Dissidents podcast. My name's Keaton Weiss, here with Russell Dobular, of course.
Hello.
Wonderful crowd here, filing in 268 strong in the YouTube chat, 208 strong in the Rumble chat to start the evening. For those of you who don't know, because you're not on our Substack, what do we tell you over and over again? You have to join the Substack. It's free. We have a very special show tonight that is not on the YouTube billing because we do have Norm Finkelstein, who will be joining us at 8 o'clock for an uncensored Rumble exclusive interview. So we didn't put that on the YouTube billing because we can't falsely advertise. We can't do clickbait. Norm was not going to be on YouTube. He is going to be exclusively on Rumble for a great uncensored talk about the issue of the day. So if you are watching on YouTube and you are not subscribed on Rumble, please go rumble.com/do dissidents. Follow us over there and join us there at 8 p.m. 1 hour. So we'll be on YouTube for 1 hour this evening.
And we are also going to entice him. We're going to try to get him to discuss 70s exploitation classic, The Warriors.
The Warriors, well, plus Richard Roundtree, rest in peace. He just passed away.
Richard Roundtree just passed away. That's right.
Yeah, another topic of conversation that we might touch on. Depends on how much time we have with the man, but he will be joining us on Rumble at 8 p.m., so make sure if you don't follow us over there already, follow us over there. We do have a few segments that we're going to do over here. We're going to get right into it. There is breaking developments from the UAW strike that Russell just texted me. We will cover this more on Friday, obviously, but apparently the big three automakers and the union, or I'm sorry, Ford and UAW, according to this headline,
Ford,
have reached a deal pending union leadership ratification. So that is just coming in. Obviously, there's another story that's just coming in. That came in a few hours ago this afternoon. So I'm going to put that up on the screen in just a minute. I do have to take care of some important family business, though, because my son Sawyer was a little bit upset that I had to do the show tonight. He wanted me to go in there and sleep in there next to him in his room. And so what my wife Amanda did was she put the show on the TV, and so Sawyer is watching us on TV right now. So I want to give a shout out to my boy.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Sawyer, it's Daddy. I'm right down the hall, but I'm on TV. Look at this.
The words you hear us say, don't use those words.
Yeah, right. Don't use these words at school. Exactly. These are only home words. Only home words. Yeah. So hey, Sawyer, hope you enjoy the show. All right, and like Uncle Russell said. These words are to be used at home only. There we go.
Only.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay. I just checked that joke because I'm like, no, his kid is really watching.
Exactly.
I'll tell you later what I checked myself before I wrecked myself from saying. Yes.
All right, cool. All right, beautiful. All right, folks, we got to do rapid fire segments tonight because limited time on YouTube. But this broke earlier today. The real breaking news here is that anyone who put money on Mike Johnson for Speaker of the House is a very rich man or woman this evening.
Seriously.
Because you got some pretty good odds on that, because who the hell knew who this guy was as of this morning? But what to know about new House Speaker Mike Johnson, reports Axios. He was elected Speaker of the House Wednesday after a 22-day deadlock that saw 3 previous Republican candidates nominated and then defeated on the House floor. Why it matters: the 4-term conservative is both short-tenured and little known relative to others who have risen to the speakership, but he became a consensus choice inside a deeply divided Republican caucus over the past 24 hours. He'll now have to try to keep that caucus united behind him heading into some bruising legislative fights. All right, so I'm not going to try to fake it for you guys and pretend that I know more about him than I do. Russell, what is there to know about this guy?
Okay, from my cursory research, this just broke. He has supported legislation to pass a national abortion ban. He is against same-sex marriage, which this, as soon as I read about him, I thought of what Nick said: don't underestimate the Republicans' ability to mess it up, because that is exactly the wrong signal to send right now. If you're the Republicans, it's your game to lose. Picking a speaker, and that's the ball game. Even the same-sex marriage, I don't think people are as worried that it's going to get overturned. Abortion's the ball game, man. Getting somebody in there who wants to pass a national ban, that's exactly what everybody who might be just sick of Joe Biden and prepared to not vote or to vote the other party or to vote third party, that is exactly the kind of thing that could swing it to the Democrats, putting a guy like that in charge of the House.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's why, a lot of us have been calling the election 50-50. It does seem like Biden is in a position where he can't win. And I think the stakes, heading at the pace we're heading now, I think the stakes are going to be so apocalyptic come November of 2024. That Biden is almost certain to lose, assuming the nominee is Trump. Now, if the nominee is DeSantis, well, then the end of the world is pretty much a wash because Ron DeSantis is going to be just as hawkish on World War III as Joe Biden. Right. So in that scenario, you could have a situation where Biden, squeaks it out on the abortion issue if people think World War III is a wash. And, the reason I speculate DeSantis or someone else is not because any other Republican is close to Donald Trump in the polling. At this point, it is really up to the deep state to stop Trump. And Russell's theory all along is that they will if they have to. I don't know exactly how they will. Maybe we should save the details of that for Rumble. But, we seem to have our suspicions that he will be allowed anywhere near the White House again by hook or by crook.
There was this guy, what was his name? Jack Ruby? That was
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the deep state takes care of business when they need to. It's been my contention that they will not let that man walk back into the White House unless he's on a tour, and maybe not even then. So I just don't believe that Donald Trump will be getting sworn in one way or the other. So it will be somebody else. Now, my further prediction is that the vote is going to divide the government. They're just not going to give it all to one party. That's how they're going to get around the abortion issue, combined with the fact that Joe Biden is such a disaster. I think Republicans take the White House, but there's a good chance that Democrats take Congress and possibly the Senate because of the abortion issue.
Yeah, that is certainly a possible outcome. But we'll have a more thorough piece, obviously, on Mike Johnson on Friday, but we did want to break that news tonight. By the way, folks, Patreon exclusive stream tomorrow. Patreon members and paid Substack subscribers, we are doing an exclusive Patreon stream tomorrow at 8 p.m. And so I'll talk more about that when we do our scroll in a little bit. We'll take some super chats, folks. Patrick Donahue, thanks for the €5. Chappelle is one celeb that won't bow down to the Zionist bullies. At least I hope not. They literally are destroying a people. But don't dare criticize. That's correct.
Look, I'm going to take a victory lap here because anybody who's been watching the show for a while knows who I wrote in for president.
That's right.
Chappelle. Dave
Chappelle.
Chappelle.
Right. Russell's gonna print up that button, that bumper sticker. Don't blame me. I voted for Chappelle.
That's right.
Exactly.
I am an army of one backing Chappelle for president.
Right. Exactly. Speaking of Dave Chappelle, why don't we do this story right now? So Dave Chappelle did a concert in Boston a few days ago. Chappelle does not allow cell phones or taping inside of his venues, and apparently he's very good at policing that or getting his team to police that because footage of his specials or his stand-up acts ever leak. And it's a bummer because, he is one of these zeitgeist comics who very often, inserts himself into zeitgeist issues, but there's no footage of it, but there is reporting of it. So this, from the Los Angeles Times, Dave Chappelle tackles the Israel-Hamas war on stage to a mixed reaction that included early exits from the audience. Dave Chappelle, for the sake of riling people up, and some maintain for the sake of comedy, has made a number of questionable and offensive jokes in recent years. Is that right? Case in point, his divisive transgender material. But he wasn't kidding around Thursday when, having taken the stage in Boston to entertain, he tackled the Israel-Hamas war. The controversial comedian's comments reportedly spurred some audience members to get up and leave. As a comedian and satirist, he has to navigate the complexities of competing truths, presenting perspectives that can be both thought-provoking and challenging, a Chappelle spokeswoman told the Los Angeles Times on Monday afternoon. In his set, Chappelle both condemned Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel, according to the Wall Street Journal, and decried some of Israel's subsequent actions against Palestinians. His comments on the violence began with him defending Harvard law students who lost job offers for supporting Palestinians, according to the Wall Street Journal. One audience member then yelled, "Shut up." The comedian responded by taking issue with the Israeli government for cutting off water, electricity, and other essential resources to the Gaza Strip, as well as the displacement of 1.1 million Palestinians from northern Gaza. Of course, that is half the population. Literally half the population now has been displaced. He also mentioned the role U.S. funding for Israel may have played in the conflict. Chappelle, who assumed the audience member was Jewish, said the person had the right to speak up. In Boston, he brought the conflict center stage, sparking some to cheer and others to call out or walk out, possibly in disagreement. In the arena with about 17,000 attendees, about 200 people left the venue. Well, that's not that many, thankfully. Intermittently in the last 20 minutes of the show, according to Chappelle's spokeswoman, Carla Sims, who talked with members of his security detail. She said Chappelle was attempting to express and uphold the humanity that exists on both sides and encourage people to speak more freely and have honest conversations with each other about the conflict. Here's a social media post that went out there. The font on this is very small, but it says here, "I saw Dave Chappelle last night at Boston TD Garden. It was sold out, so I would say 22,000 people there. 3/4 into the show, he said, I want to address what's going on in Palestine and Israel. He specifically said Palestine and said it before Israel. He said what happened on October 7th wasn't right, but also what's going on isn't right. Or just. You can't kill innocent civilians like that, and the whole world sits silently and watches." Then somebody shouted, "Shut up." He yelled back, "No, you shut the F up." And that basically, details more or less what the LA Times piece sort of vaguely
that also he said, "Don't come begging for money from my country and then go drop bombs on children and cut off innocent people's water and electricity. You have the audacity to pay to come see me and then tell me to shut the F up. No, you shut the F up." Yeah. The crowd started clapping and cheering and saying, "Yes, Dave," and chants of "Free Palestine." And then he said, "You're damn right, free Palestine." He went on a 15-minute rant about being a Muslim. I didn't know that.
I heard that.
Converted. I didn't know that. Look, I don't even know about the person I'm voting for. And the Israelis are projecting what's wrong with them on Muslims, and the crowd kept cheering. It was surreal. I don't think this fellow approves. Crowd with typical Boston demographic, 80% white,
right,
5% black, and the rest Latin and others. And, that says something, man. That's what we keep pointing out about this, and that's something we're going to try to get into with Norm. As anybody knows, God love him, but that's an ornery character to interview there. But we're going to... I would really like to talk to him about this, because you're seeing people come out for Palestine that are the same people with the Ukraine flags in their bio.
Yeah.
Like, not people you would expect. Like, this demographic should have been all booing him, right? But by all accounts, you had a few who were offended, and the vast majority seemed to have approved of his message.
Absolutely. And that last part, he yelled, "What are you going to do? Cancel me? Go ahead and cancel me. You can't cancel all of us." Exactly. Right. The response has been overwhelming in ways that is just impossible for the establishment to suppress. I mean, you see it not just in terms of media figures, because obviously celebrities have been predictably split on this. We did a whole segment on that last time. But just look at the people taking to the, streets of cities all around the world, not just in the Middle East, but in Europe, throughout the West, throughout cities here in America that are hardly hotbeds of left-wing radicalism. I mean, Dallas, Texas had a massive demonstration, right? And so that's super important. And yeah, that last point, you can't cancel everybody, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's super important to get this in the mainstream, because what do we know? It's very easy for people to be canceled or censored or excommunicated from XYZ group, organization, employment, whatever. It's very easy for people to be otherized in the early stages of this thing when they still feel like they can control the narrative. It's only once they realize they've lost control of the narrative that they have to surrender and at least stop canceling people, stop censoring people for pushing back. That's the only hope you have in getting the message out there, is just an overwhelming show of force in the very early days, which that is a good sign that seems to have shown up.
And you're also seeing the media behave in a way that is just really surprising. Like most news junkies, you probably do this, check the headlines first thing in the morning. I checked my headlines this morning. The first two headlines are about the humanitarian crisis in Gaza and urging the Israelis to back off and show restraint. First two headlines, rather than Israeli hostages, time is running out. No, not that. The focus was on the Palestinians, and it's never been like that. And something that has been just really, honestly, disgusting to me is, even when the press never said a bad word about Israel, Zionists would complain that they get treated unfairly by the press, right? That they give too much positive coverage of the Palestinian side. And there was almost no coverage, and they were saying that. And now, of course, I'm hearing that again from Zionists with a little more reality behind it. But it's the same old story, as these people's children are literally have bombs dropped on them, they're still the victims. They're still the victims. The press is still being mean to them. It's right. Just unreal. Yeah. Unreal. No, I don't want to say too much until we leave.
Right, exactly.
Leave East Berlin, but you got me.
Sawyer, if you're watching, you may want to cover your ears for a minute. My boy's a little sensitive to loud music.
You hitting it?
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, he's a little sensitive to sudden loud noises and loud music.
Like a cat.
Little sensory thing. Yeah, exactly. Britsman, thank you for the $5. We appreciate it. What do we need to get the Patreon to for you to start a purely YouTube drama stream where you just beef with and roast Kyle? I don't know, man. We may have outgrown that phase. That's kind of what we tried to do in order to get our first couple thousand subscribers. And then once we got some momentum, we realized we didn't have to do that much anymore. But I don't know. Make us an offer we can't refuse. Who knows? Never say never.
I mean,
never close the door.
We do it every now and then. It has to have a meaning.
Right.
Like we're not going to cover, oh, she says that he said that she said. There have been a lot of beefs like that we just ignored. The whole Illuminati bullshit.
Yeah,
because there was just no story there.
Right.
If we can cover a broader subject through it, we'll cover it. That's the rule of thumb. There just hasn't really been anything like that lately.
No, and none that would catch our eye. I mean, I think one thing, look, just like Russell was talking about how a lot of the culture wars stuff loses oxygen in a moment of crisis, so does a lot of that. Like, who the fuck has time? Like, if you're at all serious, you don't have time for that now.
Sure.
Charlie Trill, thank you for the $4.99. Love what you're doing. We need sensible voices in this space. Stay the course, fellas. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. Janice Anderson, thanks for the $4.99. Pretty sure Dems and reps coordinate their bullshit to keep us distracted and keep the permanent state in power. Still voting third party regardless. Yep, good point. Indeed. Folks, we are on Rumble starting at 8 o'clock with the great Norman Finkelstein. So if you are not following us over there, rumble.com/do dissidents. Make sure you type that in your URL and head over there at 8 p.m. We got a good crowd over there already. We expect that to grow even further a little bit later on. But let's move right along here to segment number 2. We did our own little action with Jose Vega last week, but part of Jose's group of friends there got into some good trouble with Hillary Clinton. Here's Robert Castle interrupting a lecture in New York City. This video has rightfully gone viral. Here it is. Let's play some.
By the hypocrisy of this. Help be struck by the hypocrisy of this.
Two more people to hear from.
I'm sorry.
You have a chance. Well, I'm not sorry. You sit down.
I know
you're
not sorry. That's the point. The hypocrisy of this speech. The hypocrisy of the fact that what do you have? Can you please make a statement about President Joe Biden's speech? This is a clearly warmongering speech. President Joe Biden is calling for $100 billion of funding
for him.
Israel, Taiwan, and Ukraine, and we're supposed to just bundle these together and pretend like we're going to rush to World War III, and we're all just going to let Hillary Rodham Clinton sit here. Okay.
I'm sorry. You know, this is not the way to have a conversation.
I'm sorry.
If you want to have a conversation, you're welcome to come talk to me afterwards.
You can sit here. Okay, right. You're gonna wait for me, right? Please, I do not believe you.
Listen to you, and I will respond to you.
I do not believe you. Respectfully, I do not believe you. And the fact of the matter is that the American.
He was right not to believe her. She did not, in fact, wait for him outside. Jose posted a little sequel to this.
Well, of course she didn't.
Let's play some
and I'm just gonna say, man, if we had this security team, Matt, would have quit the next day by the time we got done with her.
Exactly. Where's the security? They just let this
guy. Well, my theory is because it's a synagogue, so they have like a hardcore security team. But of course, it's interesting that Hillary Clinton doesn't.
Yeah, right.
Like you would think. I mean, doesn't she have Secret Service coverage? I don't know about first ladies. I guess they don't.
I don't know. I mean, you'd think they'd have somebody there to drag them out. Instead, they have this woman being like, "Excuse me, can you please stop?" No, I can't. No, I can't.
And people's voice are what need to be heard.
Yeah, they are being heard.
Because our president is not speaking for the American people, and neither are you.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion.
Yes, that's my opinion.
Well, then sit down. We've heard your opinion. Thank you very much. Now we're going to turn to people who are on the front lines working on behalf of human rights.
I'm going to exercise my free speech.
But it's not free speech when you are disrupting everybody else's opportunity.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. No, it absolutely is free speech. It may be against the House rules, but it's not illegal. It absolutely is free speech. If you knew that, perhaps you'd have passed the D.C. bar exam when you took it. This is a little-known detail about her that a lot of people don't know, but here it is. This is fact-checked, okay? Fact check, Hillary Clinton failed D.C. bar exam. Claim, Hillary Rodham Clinton failed her 1973 attempt to pass the D.C. bar exam. That is, in fact, true. That didn't come out until a few decades later. But this just shows you who she is. You know, Bill Clinton asked her to marry him. She said no. And then she failed the D.C. bar exam. And then she said yes. She clearly wanted a high-powered career in politics and law, but as we all know, Hillary Clinton lacks talent. She's extremely untalented, and by world leader standards, she's quite unintelligent. I mean, not dumb, but she's only of average intelligence by world leader standards. She's just a totally unremarkable person, just a complete loser and a complete failure. And then once she failed the D.C. bar exam, she realized, well, the only real chance she had to achieve any kind of power was to ride the coattails of this man who was going to be governor of Arkansas. And so she took his hand in marriage after this door was slammed in her face. But it is actually true that she did fail the D.C. bar exam. That's something people don't know about her. But yeah, if she knew something as simple as, yes, this guy is exercising his First Amendment rights within the bounds of the law, maybe she'd have fared a little better on that.
I mean, you can't blame her for hesitating. I mean, I'm sure a lifetime of covering for sexual assault was on her mind. She's like, am I down for that gig? Am I down for being an apologist for a rapist for life?
Exactly.
Do I want to do that?
Then she realized, oh, I'm not good enough to be in any sort of political space unless I ride his coattails. She's like, okay, then, yeah, I guess I'll do it.
Most qualified person ever to run for office, Keaton.
Exactly. Anyway, this goes on.
Speech, everyone. This is free speech. That is not free speech. This is people constructing narratives that are openly hypocritical. I'm sorry. The incredible hypocrisy.
You know, maybe you could actually...
went with Eleanor Roosevelt to bring this Declaration of the Rights of Man. John Foster Dulles was involved with the CIA.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're brilliant in your historical cherry picking.
Such a nasty woman.
Please, could you please inform me about the United States involvement in these historical things?
We're going to move on.
Miss Clinton, will you denounce Joe Biden? Will you denounce Joe Biden?
Human rights, not just yelling about it. So, Frank, I want to turn to you because you are from Uganda.
They didn't even kick him out at that point. They say you're gonna have to sit down.
I am telling you, man. I'm watching this and I'm like, we had so much shit we would have said to Matto if you gave us this kind of time.
If you gave us that kind of time, yeah.
I had time to get in 3 things.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were on me like freaking Hezbollah.
They dragged Jose out of there by his limbs, by all 4. Literally 4 guys.
They picked him up.
They picked him up by his arms and legs. One guy took one arm, one guy took the other arm, and they had 2 other guys take both legs. And this guy, they told him, sit down. He goes on.
Uganda's 2023 anti-homosexuality act criminalizes LGBTI conduct in Uganda.
Push us to World War III.
Oh,
Do you
please.
understand?
Oh, please.
Oh,
Yeah.
please.
Oh, please. Like it's not happening. Oh, please. Quit being so alarmist.
Please, everyone who matters has a space in the bunker. We have seeds down there. We have water. We have radiation scrubbers. Please.
Oh,
it's not going to be the end of the world. It's going to be the end of your world.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Oh, please. Such a drama queen.
Palestine, it's not football. This isn't football. It's not Team America.
Well, I'm sorry, but some of us are on Team America despite our flaws and our problems.
Yes, that's
It goes right for the jingoism.
Yeah.
America is already great.
It's already great. Yeah. Goes right to that. Right to that. I'm surprised you didn't have yet. Here we go. I thought you were going to be right on that one. That was a lob ball.
Yeah, I got distracted.
In the moment, heat of the moment.
Yeah,
It's almost done.
that was right down the strike zone.
Yeah, right down the strike zone. But here we go. Now,
Wait, I want to say one thing. Every person on this stage has risked their life, their income, their reputation, their careers, and what have you done other than stand up and disrupt?
I need you to
I will put my record and these.
You're from the Rachel
They're
Maddow,
all
Henry
so
Kissinger, Brundlefly hybrid over here chiming in. That's what she looks like. She looks like a combination of Henry Kissinger and Rachel Maddow. We need a lecture from her now.
I mean, these people, they all go to the jingoism. They go to the self-righteousness. They're just such fucking disgusting creeps. You want to understand why the country is in the state that it's in. Look who leads it. Look at these fucking people. I wouldn't trust them to run a bodega.
They have risked their income for this. What have you done except stand up? I mean, he confronted Hillary Clinton. That's pretty dangerous.
That takes some balls.
Take some balls, given her track record.
Exactly. He should have asked her about that. Why is there such an established record of people around you dying mysteriously?
Exactly.
Any day of the year.
I'll respond. What I have done is I have asked Hillary Rodham Clinton to denounce the president's openly warmongering, suicidal, idiotic speech.
And I've given my answer. I will not do that. So that's
giving
the
your
end of our
answer. I don't
conversation,
care.
But I'll still meet you outside. But you're done.
Right now.
Not
Okay,
my problem.
Frank has been.
Now sit down. Really, really well done. Really well done.
Yep. Hats off to him.
Hats off.
Yeah,
Hats
Jose,
off.
I think Jose's going to be watching tonight. Jose, we got to talk, man. Let's see who's in town. Let's see what we can make happen here. Within the bounds of the law.
Right. Exactly. Well, like I said, that is First Amendment protected speech. All of it, despite Hillary Clinton's ignorance of the law.
Let's see what kind of good trouble we can get into.
Indeed. But really well done. That's Robert Castle. We'd love to have him on the show. Jose actually reached out to me to see if we could do that. Yeah, we absolutely can. So let's see if we can
as a
put
middle-aged
that
white guy, they never see me coming.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, let's do some more super chats. But before we do that, folks, we want to give a shout out to our Patreon supporters. You can go to patreon.com/do dissidents and help support this show. We had a bunch of new signups, this week, so that really helps us out a great deal. Thank you, guys. That is what makes these shows possible. That is what makes these Rumble streams possible. Tonight we are splitting the stream. We have the great Norm Finkelstein joining us at 8 p.m. Over on Rumble. So we are very much looking forward to that. But yeah, go to patreon.com/do dissidents. Help support the show. Sign up. Memberships start at just $5 a month. Same thing on Substack. You can go and become a paid subscriber on Substack. You get your name up in lights here. You get your name up in lights in the end credits to our upcoming documentary on Jose Vega's activism. And you also get access to our weekly Q&As, which are every Sunday night following the main show. We do a Q&A portion exclusively on Rumble. You get call-in access to those. And the coolest thing about it is you get 2 bonus shows per month exclusively for Patreon members and paid Substack subscribers. So if you go to patreon.com/do dissidents or dodissidents.substack.com and sign up, you get 2 bonus streams per month. The second stream of October, the second bonus stream of October is tomorrow at 8 p.m. Those are uncensored live streams over on Rumble. We send out the emails during the day with instructions on how to access the stream. In the evening is very, very simple. Press of one button and you are there at the unlisted Rumble link. So that's patreon.com/do dissidents or dodissidents.substack.com. Franklin Worsham, thank you for the $4.99. Abortion is a fringe issue affecting a fraction of a fraction. Republicans underperformed in 2022.
50% of the population, my friend, and the other,
Yeah, because he wasn't on the ballot.
Yeah, I mean, 50% very directly, and the other 50% meaningfully it affects.
Right, yes. I mean, I think it affects, a lot more people than you would think directly. Yes. But yeah, no, it's a huge issue. If it were a fringe issue, the state of Kansas wouldn't have voted 60-40 to keep it legal. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's huge, and that is the biggest weak spot.
Issue. Yeah,
biggest weak spot that they have, no doubt about that. Now, it'll be less of a big issue with Trump on the ballot. If they have a candidate on the ballot who represents some sort of diplomacy, right? And I'm not saying Trump isn't going to be hawkish on Israel. Obviously, he will be. But Trump approaches these things from the standpoint of war is a waste. War is not good.
Right.
Believe
me, not good.
Believe me, not good. Believe me, not good. Mr. Fancy Pants, thanks for the $4.99. Did you guys see Biden claiming Palestine is lying about death numbers? I saw a press conference today where he said he wasn't sure whether to believe the civilian death counts. But, look, new reporting is 42% of Gaza has been destroyed and that over 90% of deaths have been civilians. So anybody who's not, look, I don't even want to parse it because anybody who wasn't immediately calling for a ceasefire was just sociopathic and evil. At this point, anybody not calling for a ceasefire should be in jail. It's unthinkable. It's unthinkable. But yeah, I did watch that. And
what are you saying about Richie Torres?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Friend of show,
Richie Torres. We'll have more on that stuff, obviously, on Friday. We have enough time here for a few quick headlines before the Norm interview, but we are going to be catching up on stuff Friday morning on the AM show. Eric Cousseau, thanks for the $5. Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 1 did the Jews in space joke first. Oh, you're talking about the Chappelle joke in his most recent special. The Viking funeral was funny also. Free comedy. Yes, free comedy. BMK, thanks for the $5. For me, some of the best defenders of the Palestinians have been the chosen people, including you guys. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you guys see Cenk on Piers Morgan show? I did see a clip from that, and to his credit, I thought what he said was impressive. I only saw a clip of it, but that's something else we may catch up on.
Well, I reposted him. I reposted Cenk under, I said, file under BreadTube's biggest grifter said a true thing.
Said a true thing, indeed. Well, he certainly did. Certainly did on that one. Franklin Worsham, Benjamin Cordozo failed the bar 5 times. Standardized test doesn't indicate talent. Also, you love Hillary Clinton. Is that what you're saying? I also failed it the first time. Franklin Worsham loves Hillary Clinton. I don't think that's true.
I don't need this. I don't need this working class hero crap.
Thank you, Franklin. Cool Blue, thank you for the 1999. The Clintons are heroes to baby boomers who eventually sold out their principles. Yes, we're disappointed Republicans dominated winning presidential elections in the 80s. Yes, and found their Democratic heroes in Bill and Hillary.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed. Yep. Absolutely. Christian Ruiz, thank you for the $5. Telling how she breaks her concentration, ignoring when she hears him say World War III. Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right. Rest in power, Seth Rich. Martyr for democracy, says DC.
Safe and effective, Seth Rich.
Safe and effective, Seth Rich, indeed. All right, folks, let's do our final YouTube segment of the evening. It is 7:43. We have a couple of Rumble rants that we're going to field as well, which we will hopefully get to before we make that switch. We have quite a few of them. We will get to all of them. I was prioritizing YouTube Super Chats just because we are going to be off YouTube very soon, so I'll get to the Rumble rants either before the Norm interview or after, but we promise we will read them all. So thank you very, very much. Oh, Abiding's over on Rumble. I'll step it up over 99 cents if Russell promises not to sing. All right. Yeah, Abiding usually hits us up with 99 cents on YouTube.
When did I sing?
Yeah, I don't know. And I know Abiding hits us up with 99 cents on YouTube, but that's not an option over on Rumble. He also says here, let Uncle Norman talk as long as he wants without interruption. We will. That's why we're doing this on Rumble. We want it to be uncensored and free and
listen. If we do that, see, this is the thing, man. Our people love Norm, and they've seen a lot of his interviews. And if we do as you suggest, you're going to hear what you've already heard from him.
Well, yeah, we have some interesting questions. I think I'm really looking
we have
forward
some
to
questions that are a little different from what you've heard. Now the challenge is going to be asking them.
Yeah, the challenge will be how do we ask them?
Maybe I'll ask them in song. Kill
beautiful.
2 birds with 1 stone.
There you go.
Right?
A little curveball. Here's a headline. This caught my eye. I will never vote Biden. Some Muslim Americans in a key swing state feel betrayed by the president. Oh, you don't say. As President Joe Biden declared unwavering support for Israel in the days after Hamas's terror attack in Israel, Ahmad Ramadan, a former Biden advisor now leading coalition efforts for the Michigan Democratic Party, called the state party chair to raise the alarm about what he was hearing. Michigan has one of the largest Muslim and Arab American populations in the country, and they say their support for Biden was instrumental to putting him over the top in the critical swing state in 2020. Obviously, Hillary lost Michigan in 2016. Biden won it in 2020. But now Ramadan and other Democratic leaders in the state were hearing nothing but frustration with Biden and threats to not vote for him again. In a series of more than a dozen roundtable discussions with Muslim community leaders in the 2 weeks since the October 7th attack by Hamas, Ramadan said the main takeaway is that, quote, people are very disappointed. They say they will not forget what President Biden did and why he lied to them, he added. President Biden won with historic numbers in 2020, and I was proud to represent that. But the last 2 weeks have really shifted things, Ramadan said. I've also been getting calls from people saying I have blood on my hands because I got people out to support him during that campaign. Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Those are strong words. Joe Biden has single-handedly alienated almost every Arab American and Muslim American voter in Michigan, said State Representative Al-Abbas Farhat. So this is a state representative, not a person on the street. This is a Democratic politician. A Democrat whose district includes Dearborn, which is home to one of the largest Muslim and Arab American communities in the country, not just in the state, but in the entire country. Farhat said he has constituents and neighbors who have family members trapped in Gaza, including some who are American citizens, and they feel completely abandoned by the U.S. government for not doing more to help them get out, get aid in, and pressure Israel for a ceasefire. The Biden administration and Democrats as a whole are going to have to do a lot of work to rebuild some level of trust with my community. He said, it's never too late to do the right thing. Later on, in rolling conversations in Michigan and beyond over the past 2 weeks, Muslim elected officials, activists, and community leaders have coalesced around a plan to mobilize their constituents to vote next year, but also to encourage them to leave the top of the ticket blank in protest, according to multiple people involved in the discussions. That's the plan right now, Farhat said. Again, this is a Democratic elected politician. That's the plan right now. I think there's going to be a lot of people that remember when you won Michigan years ago by a razor-thin margin, when you won Georgia with a razor-thin margin, when you won Arizona by a razor-thin margin. Do not be surprised if there are consequences for your actions. Very, very strong words from Democratic elected politicians in a state of Michigan where if Biden loses, that's it. It's over. You know, the thing about this is that, look, Biden, if he does win, wouldn't be the first time that a Democrat betrays core constituencies of their own party and wins anyway. Sure. The thing about this cycle, though, is Biden goes into this trailing in the polls to Trump, trailing in critical swing states to Trump. The last poll out of Michigan did have Trump up narrowly. Biden has no margin for error this year. It's not like the Democrats have room to falter this year. This is the kind of year where you're already going in with barely enough, if you have enough, barely enough to hang on. You cannot afford to be alienating Dearborn, Michigan right now. You cannot afford to betray another core group of voters. That could be a real difference maker. And the fact that you have elected leaders saying that actually the plan now in not only Michigan, but in Muslim areas around the country is to organize a protest vote, meaning vote for every other office, but leave the top of the ticket blank. That is not something to dismiss if you're odds making this cycle.
Also, there is nothing comparable among Jews regarding swing states. Jews tend to be concentrated so much in heavily blue states and districts that as a rule they can't swing an election, because where they're located, there are enough blue votes. Whereas Muslims can, because they have these concentrations in specific Midwestern districts that can actually impact the presidential race. So while there are less of them overall than there are Jews in America, those Jews are in New York and LA.
Yeah.
They're in Dearborn. New York and LA are going Democrat no matter what. It doesn't matter.
Is it true that there are fewer Muslims than Jews in America? I didn't know that.
Yes. Jews. I think that's in that article, actually.
Oh, okay.
That Jews make up about 2% of the electorate and Muslims make up about 1%. Okay. I believe that's what I read in there. I'm not absolutely positive. It was definitely less, though. They were definitely represented less voters.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. I mean, the largest concentration of Jews in the world outside of Israel is New York City.
New York.
And that's
so what does it matter?
Right.
What does it matter? Every Jew in New York could stay home and the Democrats would win New York.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, this is, part of a larger story. Obviously, Rashida Tlaib, who represents that district that they were writing about, obviously came out and made a very impassioned case for a ceasefire. She is a Palestinian woman herself, and for all the shit we've rightfully given the squad, I've always given Tlaib credit for speaking on that issue because it's a matter of personal experience, right? And so, that's something that, look, it could very well cost them. Michigan is absolute must win for Joe Biden. If he loses Michigan, that's it. It is impossible to imagine a scenario where he loses Michigan, but hangs on. And given that, look, there was a story in the New York Times. There's so much we could have covered this evening. We'll get to it more on Friday. A story in the New York Times, a social worker who makes $72,000 a year has to live in her car because she can't find housing she can afford on $70,000 a year.
Where is she living?
I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that you can't survive on that income. You can't find a roof over your head with that income. You're living in your fucking car. Like, that creates a scenario where an incumbent president, you have no margin for error. The economy is horrible, right? Your numbers, your fundamental numbers on all these core issues are horrible. You cannot afford to be alienating Muslims in Michigan and hang on and win. It's just not going to happen.
Well, and we're seeing a mass rebellion among people of color as well, which you were seeing before this, but much to their horror and surprise, black and brown people don't identify as much with the Israeli cause as they do with the Palestinian cause. Who could have seen that coming?
Yeah, no brainer, right? I mean, exactly.
Oh, they sympathize with the victims of the apartheid state and not the institutors of it. Wow, what a shocker.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, who could have possibly seen that one coming? Jones Paula, thanks for the $5 over on Rumble. Tucker Carlson has predicted there will be no election. Well, we did a video. I don't know if he predicted that explicitly. Maybe I missed one of his more recent things, but we did a video on Tucker's speech in Delaware where he said, look, we're all acting like it's going to be Trump versus Biden and we're going to have a normal election. He said, don't count on that. Don't count on that. You could be living in a completely different world by then. And
I don't think
that
he
was before October
said
7th.
No election.
Yeah, unless I'm missing something else that he said more recently.
They have to put on the show.
Right.
They'll put on the show. It doesn't mean anything now. It won't mean anything then. Doesn't cost them anything and gives them a veneer of legitimacy.
Right. All right. Let's go to the YouTube chat. We have some super chats here. Yassine Miller, thank you for the $20. That's a very generous donation. For those who keep canceling each other, decision-making is all about priorities. Why are they so ignorant, stubborn to see the top priority should be peace in the world? It's not a matter of Jewish or Muslim. No, I mean, look.
What are you, some kind of hippie?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that look, we've talked about quite a bit. There just seems to be an appetite for war, and I think it's more than just disaster capitalism at this point. I mean, it really does seem that there is a finality to this that has not been in the past, and maybe that's just a feeling, but I don't think so. I don't think I'm alone in feeling that.
It feels like certain forces want to push a confrontation to establish what the world order of the 21st century is going to be.
Yeah, of course. Martin, thank you for the $49.99. Is that good
that
for a cowbell?
Yeah, I mean, one penny. Come on, man.
Oh, yeah, no, we always round up on $49.99. Free Palestine, of course. Thank you, Martin. Appreciate that very much. China Shill over here, determined to get us canceled. So there you go. Thank you for that. That's why we said safe and effective, China Shill. Safe and effective. Ask Norm if he plans to be in D.C. Oh, it's my dad. Thank you, Dad. Ask Norm if he plans to be in D.C. On November 4th. Yeah, big rally in Washington, D.C. On November 4th. That is about 10 days from today. That is a week from this Saturday, November 4th, in Washington, D.C. Eric Rousseau.
I mean, honestly, we should have turned this interview over to your dad.
Yeah, maybe.
That would have been the best interview of Norm ever.
Right, yeah. Yeah, indeed. Eric Rousseau, idolizing a politician is like believing the stripper really likes you. Yes,
damn
indeed.
Right.
That's damn right. True words, Eric Rousseau. Thank you very much. Cool Blue, thank you for the $19.99. Dearborn is in Wayne County, Michigan, with its most populous city and county seat, Detroit. Yep. Has not carried Republicans since 1928. But the D's have to carry, by at least 35 to win Michigan. Diminished Democrat support will flip Michigan to Republican. That's Cool Blue busting out the John Kornacki stats. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not that there's a risk of it going Republican, but it's a risk of their margin shrinking to the point where they can't carry the state.
What I'm saying with New York State is you could lose the Jews and still win New York State. That's how blue it is.
Exactly. That's right. SB. Thank you for the $5. Question for Dr. Finkelstein. Do you think Iran and their friends in Lebanon will solve the conflict? Also, thank you for your scholarship. Well, when he gets here, I will try and pass that along to him. Thank you, SB. Appreciate that very much.
I just saw something. I mean, we can't really expound on it because I just saw it as a tweet. That Syria told all ambassadors of countries supporting Israel to leave.
Okay. Yeah, I have not seen that yet.
Or Libya? It might have been Libya.
Norm Finkelstein is here in the booth. Norman, we will get to you in a few minutes. We're going to start our intermission just about right now, but we have a lovely donation from someone who claims to be your brother. Do you have a brother named Rich, Norman? From Norm's brother for $100. That's
Hold
lovely.
your ears,
Thank you
Norman.
very much.
We have certain rituals here.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. That is very, very kind of you. Appreciate that very, very much. Okay, folks, here is the plan. That is it for Super Chats. We have some Rumble rants, which we will get to after we speak with Norman over on Rumble. If you are still here on YouTube, 725 of you, head over to Rumble right now, rumble.com/do dissidents. We are going to take a 5-minute intermission, and we are going to start the interview with the great Norman Finkelstein in 5 minutes over on Rumble. So make sure you head over there right now, rumble.com/do dissidents. We will take a quick break, and we will see you all soon. Thank you very much for watching on YouTube. We'll see you over on Rumble in 5 minutes.
Please clap.